All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Morning, Greg.
How's it going, again?
Going well, thanks. Going well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. I am in Hong Kong right now, in between trips to the Canton Fair in Guangzhou, I guess how you say it. So yeah, I'm glad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to fit this in. Kind of when I was able to get a decent internet connection in Guangzhou, the internet's a little bit sketchy, so I don't know. I don't think it would have worked. So hopefully we
And
don't have
what do
any
you
problems with that
know?
tonight.
Right when we start we get a little internet lag.
Oh yeah, man. For the past 30 minutes, it's been
You
fine.
just jinxed it.
I did just jinx it. That's right. We can. I can always switch to. I can always go on the backup of my phone if we need to. Just let me know if it's cutting in and
All
out.
right, awesome. Because we got 120 attendees already there, so uh, I know for a fact people have been really excited. So we want to make sure that you have the best internet possible.
Excellent. So guys, if you're just joining us, go ahead and write where you're from, where you're living right now. Maybe if you're in China, let us know. I know I had sent out an email to some people who had expressed interest in the JS meetup in China. So if you are here, we're gonna have a get together on Friday night. Yeah. So let us know. Looks like we have a few people from LA, couple from Canada. Whoa, now they're coming in quick. Good morning from Hong Kong. I'm in Hong Kong myself. Arkansas. Greg's on Mars. Okay.
I mean, you're just out of this world. You're that cool.
Yeah. Excellent. Hey, Kathy. Glad you made it from New York. All right. And everyone's kind of piling in here. And then also, if you want to let me know, maybe put in a little message there to tell us if you've kind of been following along, have you found some products to sell as we've been going through this process? Are you contacting suppliers right now? If so, let us know in the chat room as well. All right. Valerie and Rob and Thomas, thank you all for coming. So again, what's new in San Francisco?
What's new in San Francisco? We're actually just finishing the best weather, the Indian summer as they call it. But yeah, I think everybody's prepping for the GOP debate again tonight. Our first webinar was on that day, and then I think Halloween. We got Halloween coming around.
Cool. I was very shocked to find that in China and Hong Kong, I see quite a few Halloween decorations. I was not expecting that. So
yeah,
that's cool.
You think they buy it directly from the factory?
Yeah. Instead of
all the leftovers that don't make it to America, they just sell there.
Yeah. Edmund, yes, we will go over how to contact suppliers this evening or this morning, depending on where you're at in the world.
We got Smith making the barbecue glove and garlic press combo.
Excellent
combo, yeah.
That's the Mac Daddy combo. Much rather watch us than the debate. Thank you, Scott. We appreciate that. I like to think I'm more entertaining than those guys.
Yeah, I most certainly agree. You are. Randy's having a tough time finding a product. Randy, we did cover finding products and coming up with ideas in the first webinar. You can check it on the blog. But Greg shows a lot of great techniques to come up with ideas. And then, of course, you can try the product database to make it super easy. And there is a free 7-day trial, so you wouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket. You can definitely find a lot in 7 days. So you might want to check that out.
It's a good tip, again.
Pranoy, short notice, but fortunately made it in. Glad to have you, Pranoy, and everybody. So, Greg, what do you think? I know people are going to start trickling in, but do you want to just get started? And maybe we can hear a little bit about what you're doing in China.
Yep, sure. And Brent, just so you know, the link to the blog is junglescout.com/blog. So Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started now. Just to give you a little recap, we started this process a few weeks ago. This is the third webinar in a multi-part series where we are we're coming up with product ideas at the very beginning. We followed some of those products. We chose a few that we thought would be good candidates. And now we're in the process of contacting factories and getting a sample ordered. So, and with you guys, we're gonna go along the whole process from start to finish of coming up with ideas, launching a product, getting it on Amazon, getting it going, making money, and then all the money that we are raising from this, we're going to donate to charity. So it's a really cool process. I appreciate you guys are following along with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And part of the reason it makes it so much fun is all the interaction we're having with you guys. You're telling us what questions you have, what we're leaving out. You're helping us. Last week, one of the products we chose were bamboo marshmallow skewers, and we wanted to look in to see about any potential liability items with this. We had a few people, post links to help us out, so that was awesome. We appreciate all the help. To give you guys an idea, and it actually just happened to work out this way. It wasn't even really planned. Have been in China at the Canton World Fair. I went there last week, and for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it is a convention where all the factories in China meet to kind of show the goods that they sell or the goods that their factory creates. So while I was there, of course, since we chose these products last week, I went ahead and, found some suppliers at the Canton Fair as well. So that was pretty cool because I got to meet them in real life, shake their hand. I will say that's definitely not required. And this is the first time in my life I've ever been to the Canton Fair. And another caveat to that is I also contacted Alibaba the same way that I've always been doing it. And all those factories got back to me really quick, whereas I haven't heard back from any of the factories I talked to at the Canton Fair yet. So, so we'll go over that a little bit more.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's see. Where should we begin, Gen?
Maybe, I did cover a little bit of it in the blog, but can you go into a little bit more detail on what the process is of reaching out to some of those suppliers? Supposing we all can't be in person with these people, the template that you use and what your rationale is. And I noticed that you were a sourcing agent. And so some of the best practices that you have there.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like you said, again, there is a blog post. I think it's called "Finding a Manufacturer" on Alibaba. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen to show it with you guys, and then let me know when you can see the screen again.
Yep, looks good.
Okay,
and
cool.
Just a quick note: if it is a little bit blurry for you, I posted the YouTube link at the top. Usually, you'll get a better picture there. Just go to 720 pixels.
Cool. So as Gen was saying, this was kind of the template I was using. So what I did was, so we'll go ahead and just actually start here on Alibaba. So I went to Alibaba. I searched for marshmallow sticks, but we also probably could have done like bamboo skewers, anything else. It even gives us some recommendations here: marshmallow roasting sticks, bamboo marshmallow sticks. And I made the search, and what you come up with is you see that there's tons of factories that make something similar to what you're looking for. I do usually go ahead and just click the gold supplier. This is, in my opinion, sometimes maybe a little bit of like artificial insurance, because anyone can become a gold supplier. I think they just like pay a few $100s a year. So yeah, I mean, maybe it makes me feel a little bit better if it says like, oh, they've been a gold supplier for 6 years or 7 years or whatever, as opposed to this guy with 1 year. So I go ahead and click that. I don't know if it's that big of a deal, but it seems like everyone's a gold supplier. So maybe like the really shady people wouldn't want to pay the few $100s to become a gold supplier. Sometimes I go ahead and click this, assess supplier. And then usually what I'll do if I don't get that many, like if it cuts down the results too much, kind of like what it's looking like it's doing here, sometimes I'll just uncheck that. So after going to Alibaba, making the search, go ahead and select Gold Supplier. The next thing that I do is I'll actually contact like every supplier on this list. And just a little tip here, instead of browsing by products, you can browse by suppliers. And this usually helps because otherwise, if we go back to products, some of these you'll see, like if we look over here, this is the supplier name. On some of these items, it will be the same supplier listed multiple times. So let me see if I can find an example. I don't see an example right here, but anyway, what can end up happening is you contact the same factory like 3 times because they have like 3 different listings on the product part. So I usually just click on suppliers, and that way I just contact each person one time. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have quite a few different suppliers or potential suppliers. Yeah, from here, I'm a pretty big believer of just contacting like all of the suppliers, or at least like 10 or 20 or whatever, because what you'll find is a lot of these people won't get back to you, or some are significantly better than others. So it never hurts to, contact more than you think you need. If it's an item that just seems super overwhelming how many suppliers there are, maybe I'll just contact like the first 20 and see how that goes. So
you're even
Go ahead.
including the non-gold suppliers or the non-trade assurance.
Yeah, I guess Gold Supplier didn't stay checked on this page, but I'll usually just check Gold Supplier and then leave the rest undone. Trade assurance, I've never actually personally used this, but I guess it's an insurance system set up with Alibaba. It's my impression it's like an escrow system. I've never personally used it. I think some people have. I think there's quite a few like hoops to jump through, or quite a few, things you have to follow in order to get it. So I've never personally used it, and knock on wood, I've never been like burned by a supplier yet. So maybe I'm getting a little bit lackadaisical in my ways. I don't know. But we'll go over some other things I think you can do to protect yourself from getting scammed. But I guess it doesn't hurt that these factories are set up for trade assurance. Maybe that means they're a little bit more legit. I don't know.
Okay, and then when you're looking at this, the listings, can you tell the difference between, say, an actual original manufacturer versus a middleman or a trading company?
That is hard to do. That one says Trafcade Trading Co. How I usually do it is I just contact any of them that have like Bamboo listed there. Some people say like, how do you know if you're working with an agent or a factory? And to be honest with you, sometimes you don't really. And a lot of sometimes other people you're in contact with will say things like, oh, well, I'm the exclusive agent or salesperson for this factory, but I am also kind of an agent for others. What I found is I think there's quite a bit of that. People, like a salesperson will sell for like a few different factories. Maybe like they're like designated Alibaba rep, or maybe they're just their kind of like sales rep or agent for all factories. And how I go about it, at the end of the day, does it really matter that much if they're an agent versus work exclusively for this factory? If they give me the best price, if they're the best to work with, if everything else seems legit, at the end of the day, for me, I don't care that much whether they're exclusive just to that factory. They work for multiple factories. So, and like I said, I haven't had any bad experiences with that before. So I'm just going to keep going with what works for now.
Great.
Okay. So yeah. So after that, I'll literally just open up new tabs of like all the suppliers. So I'll open up like 20 tabs, and then I will go back to this template right here. This is on the blog. If you go to junglescout.com/blog, it's this one right here, finding a manufacturer on Alibaba. Put the template right in there. You're obviously going to want to switch this out for the product you're looking for. You probably want to use your own name and own company name for this. For our collaborative product launch here, I've come up with the company name Jungle Creations. And then, of course, give a little bit more information about what you're particularly looking for.
And I noticed you've got 11 million in sales each year. Do you think that really makes a difference? Because I'm not sure how many of us can actually state that, while telling the truth.
And that's not true for me either. That's a little bit or a lot of bit exaggerating, but feel free to either put that in or leave it out. It does help if these people think that you're a little bit bigger company as opposed to one guy operating out of his garage. Keep in mind, like before people started doing, the whole sourcing products to sell on Amazon, where there's a real low barrier of entry. Most of these people were used to working with these large sourcing agents that were ordering containers and containers full for, like Pier 1 Imports, Pottery Barn, whatever. So, and they're more interested in establishing relationships with people who are going to bring them in more money over the long term, hopefully larger orders. So to get a response back, I think it does help a little bit if you throw in some verbiage that makes you sound like a little bit bigger than you are. You at least don't want to say, maybe if you feel like, hey, I'm not comfortable with, kind of exaggerating on some of this stuff, then I'd probably just leave it out totally, So
okay,
I wouldn't say like, hey, I do 50,000 a year in sales. I would just leave it out if that's the case.
Okay.
So, then I put in some information about what we're looking for. If you guys remember back to when last week we were looking at products, the marshmallow sticks we were interested in selling were these bamboo type. You can see they have a little bit higher price point, $28, $28 again. If we run Jungle Scout here, let's see. Let's see if they're still selling well this week. Looks like we have our bamboo sticks right here for $28. This guy's selling about $1,300 a month, which I guess would be about 40 a day. So it's quite a bit of volume. 36,000 a month in revenue. Do keep in mind though, since these are oversized items, remember our fees are quite high. It's about $10 in fees for this item, which leaves us about $17 net. So in order to have 100% return on investment for this product, we need to land it for about $8 or $9. So I'll keep that in mind when I'm negotiating with these factories. And then looks like, let's see, where's our other guy at? Let's see, that one's Perfect Sticks, number 2. Okay, and same thing with this one. He's selling about $1,200 a month, which again, 30 or 40 a day, which is a lot. And same thing, about the same price point. So, so I included some information about these particular marshmallow sticks that we were looking for. Let me go ahead and click into this one.
And did you choose 110 just to be a little bit bigger or different than that 100 pack?
Yeah, I did. So,
okay, so slightly arbitrary. Could have been 120, could have been 125.
Or it could have just been 100 and probably would have sold just the same. But I was like, hey, why not? Get 10% more by ordering through Jungle Creations product.
Got it.
And then if we were to look at this, I can't remember what we decided last week. Okay, so let me run Jungle Scout on this page. What I did is I went to this page, or we did this together last week, and we figured out which of the item or which length was selling the best. So it looks like this last one, which is this one right here, 36 inch. So this is the one that I asked for quotes for. So I said, I think I actually told him 90 centimeters, but roughly 36 inches by 5 millimeters in diameter. And then just to give the people who'd buy through us a little extra bonus, I said 110 pieces. So you can see all that information here. 110 pieces per pack, 90 centimeters by 5 millimeters in diameter. I gave them a picture of what I wanted the end to look like. So I just took a screenshot. This is a semi-pointed end. And I said that because I didn't want a all the way sharp end to end, like a fully pointed end, because I figured it's a little bit more liability, poke your eye out. And then food safe, clean with no added chemicals or coatings. So that's the type of information you want to include for your particular product when you're inquiring with these factories.
Awesome. Hey, Greg. So 2 quick questions. If you can
Yep.
go back to the Amazon product listing. One, if you pull up the Amazon Jungle Scout, one of the negatives that you discussed a couple of weeks ago was that this is oversized because it's 36 inches.
Yes.
So if it were under 18 inches, it wouldn't be oversized. So how do you determine that you would rather go oversized, pay the larger fees, and deal with that where you can only have a limited number of inventory? And then a question that we got from Joe is, can you review how you determine that you get 100% ROI?
Yeah, sure. So that's a really good question this person's probably pretty smart. The reason this is probably 17 and a half inches as opposed to 18 is because now this particular item is not oversized. So let me see. I don't know if they are. They might not have all their dimensions right in here. Let's see. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to pull up the length, width, and height. Sometimes, especially if it's merchant fulfilled, sometimes they won't have the correct measurements in there. So, yeah, I mean, as you can see, so this item right here, this is the one that's 17 and a half inches long. It's quite a bit cheaper. And same thing. I don't know why. Those are those really large packs. So, the standard size items have about $5 in fees, where as soon as you get up just 3 inches longer, it jumps $3. And then, so these are significantly higher fees. And that's a good question. This is something you just have to use your judgment on. Do I want to sell the most popular length, which is going to be quite a bit higher fees, or would I rather sell, a length that has it doesn't sell quite as much, but there might be a little bit larger margins for me because the fees are lower. So that's just something you would have to work out yourself and decide which one you want to sell.
Sure. Actually, I think I saw that the net was maybe twice or 3 times as large for the 36 inch.
Oh yeah.
17.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah. And then how we got to 100% ROI. If I look at this particular product, this net column over here, and you can actually click on it. This would probably help you guys. So, this is my weight. The total fees for this item, if I were to sell this exact same item, would be about $10 at this price. That would net me $17. So to find out for my 100% ROI, I just divide that by 2. So then I know if my product cost is like $8, that's over 100% ROI. I'm getting $9.50 in profit if I landed it for $8. So yeah, so that's how I figured, about $8 or $9 is my total product cost. That includes shipping from China, getting it into Amazon, and then I would have about 100% ROI.
Excellent. Thank you.
So yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, if you have Jungle Scout Pro, you can click on the net column over here. You can see all this information, what size tier it is. This is the price it's selling at right now. This is, how much Amazon charges to pick and pack it. This is I call it their commission. It's 15% on most items. So yeah, it does all that math for you right inside here. All right. Do we have any other questions that pertain to this?
Well, Josh points out the very practical but sad thing that doesn't include taxes. So
yes,
was your gross margin, right?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, so keep in mind that other little miscellaneous items like that. Also, if you're factoring in some pay-per-click, I usually different people like to do this differently. You could use a really complex Excel sheet with all these different little items thrown in. I just like to factor in my landed costs. So, the item costs, including customs and duties, anything like that with the shipping. So that'd be like my landed costs. And then I like to just factor in an extra few percent for pay-per-click. And then everything else, I just like to keep it simple and do it that way. Some people like to come up with these spreadsheets with all the different, small little costs. But, like maybe even you factor in like, hey, I'm using my home office. So I want to factor in a little bit of those costs. My cell phone is now being used for my Amazon business. So I want to factor in that cost. I mean, that's just up to you guys. This is just how I do it. Just my landed cost. Then, with that, I try to get 100% ROI, or a little bit over, maybe like 110% ROI, and that would leave a little room for pay-per-click. I think if you get too complicated with this, it deters a lot of people. Like, whoa, I'm not very good with numbers. There's just too much going on there. I'd rather stay away from it. So I just try to keep things pretty simple.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah. So like we said, last week we decided we want these bamboo marshmallow sticks. I decided about 36-inch or roughly 90 centimeters was our best seller. So I included, all what I thought was all the best information for the suppliers. Contacted roughly, I forget, like 15 or 20 suppliers. And then I also included just some other information, some other questions. And I did this, A, because I wanted answers to these questions. And B, if you ask them a few questions, you get a better idea of how well they can communicate, how good their English skills are, and to just see if, like how clear and concise they are with just answering your questions or communicating with you. If someone's response to these 5 questions with, like question number 1, especially if like they, number it out. Here's my response. Question number 2, here's my response. That's a really good indicator. It's like, okay, this factory or agent, whoever, really has it together, they should be, nice and easy to work with. So that's good. And yeah, I signed it off with saying, please email me back here. You'll find that, here's a little tip. This, you can see on Alibaba, this response rate here. This isn't necessarily true. This is what percentage of the time they respond to your message in Alibaba. So when I click this and I send them a message, they can respond in the Alibaba messaging system, and that would give them, a better response rate here. So a lot of times what you'll find is they'll message you back and say, thanks for contacting me. I will email you. And that's just so that it doesn't hurt their statistics here. But the truth of it is, the Alibaba messaging system is pretty crappy. So a lot of times I would recommend to get this out of the Alibaba messaging system into email or onto Skype as quick as possible. And that should improve communication. So that's what I try to do. And this particular one, I said, please email me back. A lot of times I'll also say, hey, this is also my Skype ID. Can you Skype me? This particular time, I knew I was traveling about the time they'd be getting back to me, so I'd prefer just to get email. But a lot of times, if I want to really speed things up, I try to get on Skype, because that way, instead of going back and forth through 10 different emails, you can just knock out all your questions on Skype.
Got it. Okay. So if we actually go back to one of the questions I saw you ask, if you can pay for the full order by PayPal. Is that a deal breaker if they can't accept PayPal for the full order? For most of you guys, especially if this is just your first product, I'd recommend to say yes, that is a deal breaker. Let's talk about this real quick though. So these Chinese factories, they do get hit pretty hard with PayPal fees. I forget exactly, but I think it's like at least 4 or 5%. It might even be as high as 8% for some. And I've kind of had mixed information on this. Maybe it depends where you're at in China or whatever. But so they don't really like PayPal. Another thing is, I think it takes them a little while to pull out their funds, whereas like a bank transfer, they get that money as soon as the wire is complete. The only fees they have is they'll probably be hit with like a $20 or $30 wire fee. So it does make sense to me why they don't like PayPal. But at the same time, especially if we're doing,
starting a relationship with these people, we want to make sure that they're legit. And PayPal does give us a little bit of insurance. You can file a dispute with PayPal if you were to not get your goods, and so on. So just because a company says they won't accept PayPal, it doesn't mean that they're not legit, but it probably means that you don't want to work with them for this, if you're just starting out. Because I do know a lot of these like bigger and more legit factories actually won't take PayPal just because they're like, hey, we're used to dealing with really large orders. You're not going to send me $100,000 or $500,000 through PayPal, so like we don't want to deal with any of these real small buyers. And it's not worth our time to mess with PayPal. So it doesn't mean that they're not legit, that they won't take PayPal, but I would recommend that you just go ahead and just don't work with them because they're probably either too big or not easy for you to work with, or, or they could just be trying to scam you too.
Sure.
So, yeah. So PayPal's pretty nice. It's easy. You don't have to go into your bank and actually wire something. You can just send it through your PayPal account. It does provide a little bit of insurance. So it's a really nice way to pay for these smaller orders that we're doing. And when I say smaller orders, I mean like 500 or 1,000 units. Once you start, if you're getting into bigger stuff, like some people are like ordering containers full at a time, that's when you could, start paying with bank wires or TTs, like they like to call them. So yeah.
And do you have any way to protect yourself if you do a bank wire that you would recommend?
You could try doing escrow. I've never personally done it. For those of you that aren't familiar with escrow, what happens is you essentially send the money to a third party. They hold it. Once you say, hey, I've received my goods, or hey, the goods have been shipped, or whatever, that they release it to the supplier. Again, factories won't really like to do this because it's a hassle. They have a chance of not getting paid and so on. And from their point of view also, they could get scammed by a buyer. That's part of the reason that they might be hesitant. The buyer could say like, hey, I only received half my goods when they really shipped all of them. And then, you'd have to fight it out in escrow. So, and then I guess your other option is this Alibaba trade insurance. But like I said, I'm just not very familiar with it because I've never personally used it. But if you don't use any of that and you just send a bank wire, there's not much you can do. At that point, your money's pretty much gone.
Right.
Unless maybe you want to go to China and try to get it back yourself. So, yeah. Let's see. Do we have any other questions at this point, Gen?
We do. Let's see. I did have some, but maybe we can continue on because I think we have actually addressed most of those up to this point. But
sure.
Can we get back to some of the replies that you've gotten from the outreach?
Yes. I just realized that. All right. So I set up a particular email account just for this project. And I also have one just when I'm contacting suppliers for my own use as well. And the reason is this is a lot of them will contact you for like months and months and months to come, even if you don't order for them. So it can really start to clog up your email box. I just realized that the other account, I was going to open up the account and show you guys some of the emails, but I just realized I'm logged into Google on Webinar Jam. So I think it's going to log me out of the video if I try to log into my new Gmail account that I created for this.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll just kind of talk through some of them. And you guys will see the same thing when you contact suppliers. Some will be quick to respond. They'll have good English. You'll feel like there's no strong communication skills. These are all arrows pointing in the right direction. This would be someone that'd be good to work with. Other people might just respond right back and say like, hey, first, can you tell me more about your company? I usually just delete these. These are probably more likely really large factories that want to do really large orders. And that's why they try to kind of vet the buyers before they do go into business with them. In this situation, if you're just a small person trying to sell a product on Amazon, you're probably not going to pass their vetting process anyway. So I just go ahead and delete those. And then
Do
other
you-
one. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Some people would be curious to see what that inbox looks like and suggest that you actually open an incognito tab or different browser.
Okay,
if
let me
you have
try
that
to
password.
all right. So if you lose me here, I'm sorry. I'll sign back out. Let me see here.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the patience, guys. But it's a good idea. We should have thought of that. Again, I like the incognito tab.
Then yeah, while I'm doing this, give me a second here. I think it was Jungle. What did I say? Jungle Products 15.
Do you have the password? Do you want me to find it for you?
I think I can pull it out of my password manager
All
here.
right,
Just
cool.
take a second.
Yeah, guys, thanks a lot for the feedback in the chat room. We are definitely we are still here and really trying to monitor the chat room to make sure that we get all your questions answered. So please keep it coming so that we can make sure it's as relevant as possible to you and get all your questions answered today. But we will be recording this. We'll be posting it. We'll be covering it in the blog. Hopefully get that up by tomorrow. And all the screenshots as well. So one thing we're really trying to focus on here is to make sure everything is as transparent as possible. So we'll definitely share this. Perfect.
Can you
Yeah,
see
we got it. Yep.
Sweet. Okay, cool. So yeah, as you can see here, I have a whole bunch of replies. I contacted like I said, maybe like 15 or 20 factories, and let's see, within about a day here, I had responses from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I had 12 emails, but as I was kind of saying, some of the people messaged you back in Alibaba. These are the ones like feedback at service at Alibaba. And what you'll notice in a lot of these is this person thought I made a mistake on the length. But what you'll see in a lot of these is like they just say something like this, like, hey, thanks for your email. We saw it and we're going to, or thanks for your message, we saw it and we're going to email you. So don't write off these factories right away when they send you that. Like I said, it's just because they don't want to hurt their stats by like not having a good response time, So a lot of times they'll send that and they'll follow up with an actual email. So yeah, so we can look at some of these emails and I'll talk about whether I think they're good or not. So yeah, this guy, it appears his English is pretty good, but he didn't really address a lot of my questions very well. For this particular guy, let's see. I just said, thanks for getting back to me. And I asked him some more questions. Like, I would like a test order of 1,000 products. The reason I say this is a test order signifies that it's going to be a little bit of a smaller order. And, a lot of times I'll say, hey, we want to start out with a smaller order to verify quality. If the quality is as good as we think, then we'll order a larger amount. So this is good for a few reasons. One, it makes you at least appear to be a larger company. And two, it makes them want to, make sure to have good quality control on this first order. A lot of, in Chinese culture, I think they really like pride good business relationships. So, most of them are going to want to make you happy and, they want many more orders to come. So if you can kind of say like, hey, we'll be ordering more products along the way or, continue to reorder, possibly larger orders along the way, as long as the quality is good. So I always kind of like say that, like, hey, as long as the quality keeps up where it's at, I'll continue to order from you and so forth. And, I said here container full. This might be an exaggeration or it might not. If I do start selling, like if this product was selling some of those as well as some of those others, like 40 a day, it's not unreasonable to think I would order a container. So that might not be an exaggeration. And then another thing I said here, you guys won't be saying this, but I said, hey, I'm at the Canton Fair right now. Instead of shipping the factory all the way back to the States, could you just ship me one to my hotel? So I actually found out something pretty cool here that, so for those of you guys that don't know, like I said, this is my first time to to China or the Canton Fair. So up to this point, I'd been paying anywhere from like $50 to $100 for samples. So I would order samples from a few different factories. I would pay the $50 or $100 for the sample, and most of that goes to shipping. And then, I'd wait 3 or 4 days, and then it would show up to my place in the States. So I was just thought that was like pretty standard. And it is. I expect to pay $50 or $100 to order a sample from one of these factories. Just a little side note, something that was pretty cool when I was replying to these factories with that email, like saying, hey, I'm in Guangzhou right now. Can you ship it to my hotel? And I expected them to say like, yeah, sure. Shipping now is only $10 or $20. So I actually have like 5 samples coming to my hotel, and no one's charging me a dime, which is pretty cool. So that's just a little side tip. So if you're ever in China, feel free to order some more samples to your hotel.
So I noticed in your email, though, sorry, quick question about the shipping, that you specify DHL. Is there a reason why you did that over UPS or FedEx?
It doesn't have to be DHL. Like if they say like, hey, we prefer to send this UPS or TNT, just say, yeah, it's fine. DHL's actually, I don't really know the reason for this, but for whatever reason, most of them do like to ship the samples DHL. I think for like small parcel, whether it's just easy for them or what. But I guess what I'm getting across there is I want samples like in a few days, as opposed shipped to me like get there in a month. Like I want whatever express service you want to use, whether it's DHL or something similar, to get it in a couple 3 days.
Got it.
So yeah, so we can go over a few of these other little emails. Let's see what else we got. Sorry about the crazy. What would that be? A tunnel effect or something? I guess it is. It is close to Halloween.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Let's see what this person said. And then same thing. You'll see on a lot of these that that I had the same replies. Okay, here's some other things that I learned for this particular product with just talking to these different people through email, is that a lot of them aren't used to most of these factories are making like short little like chopsticks or like skewers for your grill. So a lot of them were like kind of hesitant or like wanted to know like, why, like 36 inches, that's long. That's like a yardstick, They, a lot of them want to know, like, what are you using that for? Like, we're a little bit thrown off. Like, are you sure your measurements are right? Did you mean 90 millimeters instead of centimeters? That kind of thing. So, I responded to some of the people like that. Yeah, another thing that a few people said was that their machine to grind the points on the end of them couldn't fit a bamboo stick that long. So they were going to like have to either grind them by hand, or like one factory just said, hey, I can't put a point on a stick that's 90 centimeters long. All I can give you is the flat ends. So like for that particular item, I just said, all right, for that particular factory, I said, never mind, don't worry about it. So I mean, these are just like, I guess these are a lot of the questions that pertain specifically for this product, but you can expect to get similar questions to that on, whatever products you're doing. So if it's, especially if it's like a little bit strange, like I said, most of these factories are doing like short skewers. So this is like a little bit odd for them, but not out of, their realm. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What, any other questions that kind of pertain to that right now again?
Well, we do have Lori in the audience. She's very interested in seeing how this progresses because she also wanted to private label the Marshmallow Sticks, had issues with the sizes. So,
oh, really? Okay,
yeah, cool. She's interested to keep that, see how that plays out.
So let me show you guys something else. So I took a few pictures while I was at the Canton Fair. I'll share a few of these with you so again, I just want to clarify, like, I don't want people to feel like they have to go to the Canton Fair to get these items, because I literally have like a few dozen private label items on Amazon now, and this is the first time I've ever been here. But I guess at the same time, if you ever do get the opportunity, I found that it's pretty cool because you do learn quite a bit. So let me show you something that I learned for our particular item. All right, so these are some pictures from the Canton Fair. Just give you guys a quick idea. This is what the outside of it looks like. It's freaking huge. This is just one of the buildings. There's like 4 buildings, and this particular one, I think there's 4 stories, and it's like the size of like, I don't know, 5 football fields on each story. So for this particular phase 2, I was there for like 2 days, and like I only saw probably like 1/10 of this place. Is just how massive it is. But it was, so the inside, some of the aisles look like this. As you can imagine, it's just a whole bunch of different booths. Each booth is a different factory. So before I went, since I knew I was looking for these bamboo skewers, you can go on their website or their app, search for like bamboo skewers, and then find the different booths that are selling them. So I found 4 different booths that were all kind of spread out through the Canton Fair, and a lot of them look kind of like this. So as you can see, all this factory makes is bamboo products or wooden products. So they have like, these are like chopsticks. These are like bamboo sushi mats. I think over here I see bamboo plates. They had like toothpicks and forks and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see this because you get a better idea. It's like, okay, what else does this factory normally make? Other people were showing me, like for instance, I met this guy, Jonathan. He was a sales rep, and he showed me these are a few different diameters of bamboo and a few different qualities. I think this is the picture of the qualities. It might have been this one. So yeah, they had like grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3, I think. And like if we look closely on this one, this was the worst grade. I might be able to kind of zoom in on that. This is like you see there's a few little defects on it. So like that's kind of like a knot in the wood. Up there, I think I see kind of like a little bit of a splinter. Whereas this one over here on the right, this was like the next best. So this would be like the worst grade, grade 3. This would be like grade 2. And you can see it just looks a little bit nicer. And then these over here were the like grade 1. So these were like sanded or like polished or like really nice. And then, yeah, of course, there's different prices that reflect each one. I will say the grading system, I don't think is consistent throughout all the different factories. So looking back, probably actually when I ordered samples, I should have said, hey, do you only have 1 grade? Do you have multiple grades of bamboo? If so, can you send me different samples of each grade?
Okay. So a couple of questions.
Okay.
One, were you speaking through a translator while there?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So just about every booth that I went to had somebody that could speak English very well. This guy right here, he actually could not speak very much English, and he was, from my impression, like the owner of the factory or something. But he had a translator that he brought to his booth with him. So I didn't bring my own translator. Everyone either had a translator there or a salesperson that could speak really good English. So
got it.
So yeah, like I met this lady, she could speak really good English. And same thing. So all the booths, I didn't see a need to have a translator there.
Okay. And then Dagan asked about the food issue. Is that something you brought up as well, whether it's FDA approved or if there are regulations we need to be aware of?
Yeah. So I asked everyone that I spoke to about that. And of course, you have to take it with a little bit of, like a little bit of skepticism. But for instance, everyone said, oh, yeah, of course, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And the one thing that did kind of make me feel good is most of these factories, all they make is food grade products, So these are like skewers or chopsticks or what would you even call these, Gan? These are like a little like cocktail picks, what I mean? Like you
exactly.
put fruit on them or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the right name for that would be. But or for instance, same thing. These are bowls that they put food in. So, of course they all said, yeah, we have a very clean and process, built for that. And then, like I said, it did make me feel good to see that they have lots of food grade products as opposed to ordering this from like, if this was like a factory that specialized in, say, like bamboo sticks for like your garden to, like tie up plants to, then that would probably be a little bit of a red flag to me. It's like that factory probably doesn't need to have the same standards. But if they're making all food grade products, I feel pretty good about it.
Okay. So now moving a step forward, if not sure if you've gotten to this point as far as negotiating, Marshall has asked that he's heard that Alibaba factories do their own Amazon research and quote prices that deliberately eliminate any profits. So do you have any tips for negotiating to get a lower price?
I'm probably not great at this. I wish I was better, but I do have some tips, and we might need to save some of this for the next webinar. But essentially, first of all, never order a product if like the returns on it aren't going to be what you want. It's like, just don't order. Just tell them to get lost. The other thing the good thing about working with lots of factories at the same time is you can kind of get an idea of ballpark figures, so if I get quotes back from 5 different factories and 3 of them, are around like 10 cents or 15 cents a stick, and then like a couple other ones are at like 30 or 50 cents, like I probably won't even email back those people who are really high, just like screw them, right? And then I have 3 people who said, okay, I can get them to you for, what I say, 15 cents. Mm-hmm. I would then email back those 3 factories and just say, hey, I got prices all the way from 6 cents to 20 cents. I like working with you. You seem great to work with. I like the quality of your samples. But, I also need to make money off this. I have a boss I have to report to as well. You got to do better for me on the price. So if they just come back and say, usually I found when you do that, at least 1 or 2 of the factories you'll see are like a lot more eager to negotiate with you. Like, oh yeah, sure, I can work with the price. I'll knock it down 2 cents and just say like, hey, look, I need it further than that. I need it to whatever amount. So just go back and forth with them. And then like for me, like I said, I might not be like the best negotiator, but at some point it's like, okay, I'm spending all this time going back and forth trying to save a few more pennies. If my margins are already great, if my margins, if I'm already seeing like 100% return on my investment, does it really matter if I'm making another dime or if I give them that like dime? Like for me, it's like, all right, I think everyone's winning this situation. I'm happy with this price. Let's go ahead and order it. So yeah. And I don't think that they go off Amazon prices because most of these people, like for instance, at the Canton Fair, you'll see that most of the people that these factories work with aren't Amazon sellers. Just like talking around to other people there. It's like they're a buyer for such and such company, or some of these people just have like little mom and pop shops back in wherever, and they're just trying to order like a few hundred whatever plastic apples to sell at their store or whatever. So not only Amazon sellers are contacting these people.
Got it.
So yeah, let's see what else. What kind of stuff did I miss there again? I feel like I was jumping around a little bit.
Well, going back, somebody was asking about the company structure and the accounting in the email that you send out for your quote unquote online Amazon business. So did you create a sole proprietorship or LLC or nothing, or did you even create an Amazon seller account yet?
No, I've not created an Amazon seller account yet. And it's going to be a little bit different for us because I'm going to try to put this in a new account as opposed to my seller account. But I'm hesitant to give out too much information about this because I'm definitely not like a professional in this area, and I don't want it to hopefully I don't give you guys the wrong information. So I want to encourage you to do your own due diligence with this. But it seems like if you're just, I'm going to assume everyone here is just starting out and this is like their first product. If so, it seems like most people just go ahead and and launch a product, through their own personal name as opposed to an LLC. Just because it's the lowest barrier of entry. And then most people after that go about starting an LLC. There is some inherent liability with that. If you don't already have an LLC structure in place, if you were to get sued, they could come after your personal assets. That's just going to be up to each individual person to look into what's best for them, what kind of risk tolerance they have, and so forth.
Okay. But as far as like setting anything up before outreach, you're okay? You didn't do anything? You just
Oh, no.
your own Gmail account?
Yeah. Working with overseas factories aren't like working with US based like wholesalers. So like if I were to contact a wholesaler in the US today, right away before they give me like any quotes or catalog or anything, they'd want to find out more about my company. They'd probably ask for my LLC and my EIN number. They want to know about my website, all that kind of stuff. These Chinese or overseas factories, they don't care about any of that. They're looking to make deals.
Okay. And
so I guess the question, I know this, I see this question here and I see other people about this. By Amazon standards, you are not allowed to set up multiple seller accounts. I know that's the case. I'm just going to send support an email and be completely honest with them what I'm doing here, how I'm doing a launch to help people learn how to sell on Amazon, give them my case, and then just see if it's okay if I set up a new seller account. So I don't know. I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. Great. And then so Rose W has asked what kind of customization or change do we have to for this product? How are we differentiating?
Not much. We are essentially copying the best-selling Marshmallow Stick, and instead of 100 pieces in a pack, we're going to do 110, and then we're going to put our branding on it.
Okay. Great. And then, so what are the next steps then?
So the next steps, I'm looking forward to getting these samples from the factories. That should be a good gauge to see, like how the quality compares. Like I said, I'm getting like 5 different samples, and I think, so for those you don't know, I'm in Hong Kong right now. I'm going back to Guangzhou tomorrow for phase 3 of the Canton Fair. So I asked these suppliers to mail the samples to my hotel in Guangzhou. And yeah, there I'll take some pictures. I'll share them on the blog. I'll inspect the quality. If it's like a no-brainer that a few seem a lot better than the others, then I'll probably just contact them both. Like if all 5 samples were the same, which I doubt would be the case, then I haven't started even really negotiating with these people yet. So I'm going to look at the samples. If I even want to work with them, then I'll start negotiations. And yeah, then we'll move on from there.
Okay. So just to clarify, it will be the samples for the 1 yard semi-sharp. That's the ideal product.
That is the ideal product. Some of them said like, hey, that's not a product that I can produce for you like today and get you a sample before you leave China. So someone said like, hey, can I give you, I have a 70 centimeter stick sitting on my shelf. Can I send you a pack of those to inspect instead? So for those people, I just said yes. And then if, so yeah, I'm just gonna look at the samples and go from there. I'm trying to move this along so you guys don't like get bored and I had to say like, hey guys, we'll meet again in a month when we get samples, So from most of these factories, I'm like, yeah, just give me whatever you got or whatever you can get to me by this weekend so I can start inspecting these and then we'll go from there. So okay. For instance, if I really like the factory that did like the 70 centimeter stick, then I'd say we'll take it from there.
Okay. So a couple of people have asked about differentiating and branding. Like, is that something that we're thinking about right now? As in like creating a website for the product or figuring out how to advertise on Amazon or outside of Amazon?
Yeah, I think we're probably getting ahead of ourselves there. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when it comes, but I don't think it's a high ROI outside advertising outside of Amazon. So for this particular little case study we're doing here, we'll probably just focus inside Amazon. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Okay, including packaging as well.
For packaging, yeah, that's a good question. So I've asked the suppliers I've contacted through email. I just said, what's your most common packaging? And could you send samples of that? When I met these people in person, let me show you some more pictures here. I asked about it, and I thought it'd be really cool if I asked them all if they had any type of like eco-friendly packaging that they could do or that they were used to doing or something. Because I thought that'd be really cool if we could, like bamboo is already a really eco-friendly product. So I figured it'd be really cool if we could also get like eco-friendly packaging, and then that we can market it like that as well. None of them really had any good suggestions for that. It's not something they had done before. I could investigate that further myself and just say like, hey, this is the packaging I want to use. I don't know if I'll be able to make that happen or not, just because, like I said, I want to try to move this project along pretty quickly. But if that was something you're doing yourself, you could definitely like go out yourself and say like, hey, this is the packaging I want to use. You could send the supplier like pictures or whatever you have, examples of that packaging, and say like, and since each product's different, you just have to work with the factories you're working with and saying like, hey, can you get this packaging? If not, can you get something similar? Do you have the machine to apply this packaging, or whatever else it takes? But I think, let's see. Like some of them were just like, you see this right here. They were just like, hey, we'll just bundle these together for you and send them to you like that. I was like, whoa, that's not going to work. I prefer to have some type of plastic or something probably on the outside to protect against like maybe dust or whatever else in Amazon's warehouse, since these are going to be used for food. And then I also need somewhere I can apply at least a sticker with my barcode and my product name, or, my brand on it.
Dagan has suggested, how about a cloth sack? So maybe that might be a bonus if you see it tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's probably something I could ask these factories, if I like some of the samples they send me, just say like, hey, do you have a cloth sack I could put this in? Yeah, because then it could be reusable. So even after you used up all your bamboo sticks, you'd still have it to put your marbles in or whatever else.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, guys, if you have any other ideas for packaging, go ahead and stick it in the messaging, the chat box there. So it doesn't look like I have an example of what I was thinking. Actually, let me see if I can find it in the email real quick. One person sent me some pictures that I liked quite a bit. Essentially, just like in a plastic bag. What are these pictures? A lot of times these factories will send you. So, one more second here. Let me just see if I can find my favorite packaging that I've seen so far. I don't know. Essentially, it was just like a little bit like higher end, higher quality looking plastic bag with a little like cardboard part at the top, and that's what you'd put your. Yeah, I don't know why I can't find it. Anyway, a little cardboard piece at the top, and that's what you'd put your barcode and your company logo and stuff on.
Awesome. So we have a recycled paper box would be eco-friendly, or bamboo cloth, brandable as well. So a question we had as well is, are you expecting to pay more if you ask them to brand it? Whether that's a sticker on top or something printed or anything extra labor on their end?
So for instance, if I went to the one with, so it's essentially like a plastic bag with like a cardboard piece on the top, and like up here, this is kind of like where you'd hang it at. If they were already doing a cardboard piece for me, I would expect that to be printed with whatever I wanted for the cost that was included. if they're just putting a sticker on there, like they might charge me 5 cents, or I might ask them to throw it in for free. Like I usually don't get in like battles with these people trying to save like a nickel here or a dime there or whatever. Like I want them, to make money off it at a price that it still works well for me. So I, just work with them on it. But I mean, yeah, if they're like, sometimes I do pay for different branding type things. It's just on a case by case basis.
Okay. So yeah, you explained the next steps. You're going to get the sample. Maybe it's going to get shipped to your hotel in Guangzhou. Do we have any idea on timing when we might be able to reconvene with some good updates?
Good question. So let's see today. So I'm going to be in China all next week. From my experience so far in China, the internet's not great, so I don't want to plan a webinar while I'm there. So we'll plan on that following week, which is like the second week in November. So that'd be the week of like the 9th through the 13th, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday night that week. And then in the meantime, though, I will go ahead and post a blog post with some updates. So if you guys want to follow along on the blog.
Awesome.
So I'll take some pictures of the samples I get, maybe include some more information about how negotiations are going with these. And then hopefully, if that's the second week in November that we're meeting again for the webinar, hopefully we have something into production by then because, like I said, I'm going to try to push this process along. It does, the process from, choosing a product to actually getting it into production to ordering it, it does take a little while. So don't get discouraged, guys, if it takes you like a month or two. Hopefully we can do it in a month or 6 weeks or whatever, but we'll just see how things go.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess that should wrap it up for today, right?
Yeah, I think so. We've been on for about an hour. I try not to carry on too much, respect everyone's time. But yeah, if anyone has any last questions, they can throw them in there. If not, of course, again, we'll post a recap of this in the blog. And you can, of course, on the comments of the blog is a good place to ask questions. Also in the Facebook group, Amazon FBA Competitive Edge, that is a good place to ask questions. Again, I will be in there answering them. I'll try to post some more updates in the blog and the Facebook group. Like I said, if you're in China, I am having a Jungle Scout meetup on Friday night, 5:30 at the West End. Email me if you want more information or if you haven't already RSVP'd. It should be fun to get to meet some of you guys. And we'll take some pictures and share it on the blog or in the Facebook group so everyone else can see too.
All right, great. So actually, one more question regarding the stickers. Do you put an ASIN barcode over your UPC label? And then does Amazon handle the UPC label?
So for private label products, I just put a UPC code printed on there from the factory, and I don't do the FN SKU sticker. And then you just have to select commingled inventory when you ship it into Amazon in order to be able to do that.
Okay.
So I get printed on a UPC that I purchased from, I think I bought like 50 or 100 from I think speedybarcodes.com or something a while back. And I just use one at a time. So you can buy barcodes on the internet for they're cheap, a few dollars or whatever.
Excellent. Good to know.
All right. Cool.
Well, yeah, everyone, thank you so much for staying till the very end. Like Greg mentioned, please drop your comments, your thoughts, suggestions in the comments of the blog or Facebook. We definitely want to make sure that we add as much value and answer any questions you have. So yeah, really glad to have you here. And thanks again, Greg. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us again, and everybody else. I have enjoyed it. Thank you for your all your interactions and comments in the chat. It's been awesome. So yeah, we will email you about the next webinar meetup. Like I said, I think the second week in November, and then follow along in the blog, and we'll shoot you updates on the email as well. So
all right, and
take
you
care,
can
everyone. Yep.
Chat too. We won't close out the chat box yet.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.